The Fitterist Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. Adele recently sent reverberations across the internet with her Instagram photo post in early May showcasing her body transformation. This triggered a frenzy of comments, news stories, and opinions across the internet, with everyone weighing in, pun intended, on her transformation. We'll take a look at her fitness journey to a healthier version of herself in this episode. Also, we'll examine a new study that suggests that older adults may perform better on certain cognitive functions, including thinking and memory tests, after about 6 months of cardiovascular exercise. So, let's dive in. In our first story, Adele shared a photo of herself on her 32nd birthday this year, May 6th, and it was the first photo she had posted on Instagram in 2020. So 4 months, no pictures, and then she posted a picture. And in this picture, she, having lost roughly a reported 98 pounds over the past few years, the singer received plenty of attention for her new look, with countless celebrity friends and people in general commenting on her newfound look. The internet, of course, was a frenzy of activity, as seemingly everybody weighed in on her transformation. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. First, let's talk about her fitness journey. So when Adele started her fitness journey to lose a little bit of weight a few years ago in a way that appeared to be healthy, the star discussed getting fitter for the sake of her voice, her performances, her demanding tour schedule, and overall her career and longevity of her career. To her credit, she has never really said, I want to lose X pounds or I want to be a size Y during her journey. Adele herself alluded to her mission to get fit in recent months, posting pictures from the gym to her Instagram and captioning photos with statements like, I used to cry, but now I sweat, suggesting that she has been working out. But never has this 15-time Grammy Award-winning singer confirmed or even commented on the suggestion that her aim has been to lose weight. And she certainly has never once uttered a number from a scale to say she wants to weigh X. So let's take a look at her process. So her overall strategy is kind of fourfold. One, she was committing to the process, knowing that she was going to continuously learn as her body adjusts and adapts as it becomes more efficient. Number two, patience. The process is not an overnight one. Real and lasting change takes time. Number three, the KISS. Keep it simple. The simpler you keep it, the easier it will be to maintain and adhere to. Don't try and overcomplicate the process. And number four, and probably the most important, know your why. And Adele's why was clear from the outset. She wanted to be healthier for the sake of her voice, for her demanding touring schedule, for her performance schedule, for her career longevity. She knew why she was undertaking this transformation. And the components of that transformation were the following. One, of course, was exercise. So exercising regularly, getting her heart rate up, getting outside of your comfort zones. Her training sessions seem to be varied, from body weight and resistance band work to weight training, boxing, cardio challenges, just to make sure she had a variety and sufficient variety to keep her interest from waning. And her trainer believed that exercise selection must adapt to suit the person and not the other way around. So not everybody needs to do exercise A or B. You want to make sure that the exercise that you're selecting is interesting to the person. If it's something they absolutely hate, that's not really fun. And it's tough to adhere to something that's not that fun. And the last principle is weaving that fun into the workout. So make sure that there is some levity throughout the workout routine, so it's not always super serious, hardcore training sessions. The second component of her transformation was diet. And in general, she was focused on eating a well-balanced and inclusive food plan. Wasn't really overly focused on supplements, pills, powders. It was really about real food and a relatively healthy and varied diet and eating lifestyle. She apparently followed the CERT food diet, and this is a diet that involves mostly plant foods that are rich in a particular compound called sirtuins, which trigger genes that promote fat burning. The diet is broken into 2 phases, which are generally throughout the diet continuously repeated. The first phase involves 3 days of living on 1,000 calories, and then 4 days on 1,500 calories, and includes lots of green juices. The second phase roughly lasts about 14 days and includes 3 main meals and, of course, lots of green juice drinks. So what types of foods did she eat? Well, during that maintenance phase, the phase 2, the typical meal plan would be something like, for breakfast, either a kale omelet, some cereal, muesli cereal, not Lucky Charms, be my preference, of course, yogurt, blueberries, or a fruit smoothie made with some rolled oats and soy milk. So again, getting some protein, generally some greens, some probiotics, and in the case of the rolled oats, some carbohydrates in the mix. Lunch and dinner on the maintenance diet would be things like tuna salad with tomatoes and cucumbers with some olive oil, some veggies and spicy stir-fry tofu with some chili, some grilled fish, buckwheat salad, chicken, and some noodle stir-fry, tofu burgers with whole grain bread and a salad, kale salad with edamame beans and red onion and olive oil, some spicy chicken curry. So there was a number of dishes that she could pick from for a maintenance lunch and dinner. And snacks would include things like certainly coffee, celery, hummus, fresh fruit, particularly strawberries, apples, oranges, some walnuts, dark chocolate. So that was generally the CERT food diet that she had followed. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the challenges with a CERT food diet. The first is practicality. Living on only 1,000 calories a day is really, really hard work. You're going to have hunger pangs, which are uncomfortable. You're obviously going to have an impacted social life, and it's going to be tough to meet your daily nutrient requirements during this phase because you're just not eating really enough or much food. There are certainly benefits to intermittent fasting, but it's not necessarily for everyone in this type of a diet with a limited number of calories ingested. Second challenge is around sustainability. These intense food rules can become just really difficult to adhere to. So people often give in. They feel guilty and then they start the diet again, and then they fall off because it's too hard to adhere to, and then they continue to repeat the cycle, never really get anywhere because they keep bouncing on and off, guilty, get back on, and then body can't take it, they binge on something else and go way off the diet. The third area, the third challenge with the CERT food diet is just the lack of food variety. So while there's a fair number of choices, diets like this sometimes put food on a pedestal as if it's kind of this magic bullet, that these are the blessed foods that you should consume, when in reality, there's a lot of healthy foods that should be part of a well-rounded, healthy diet. What's important is kind of the variety rather than consuming just large amounts of just a few foods. That said, if this diet worked for her, clearly something did. And if this is what worked for her, more power to her. The key, though, will be what does her long-term maintenance and adherence look like from a diet perspective. And the third component of her transformation is sleep. She really made sure that she got proper, restful sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night, to allow her body and mind to repair and recover. So these are the same principles we've talked about with transformation: nutrition, exercise, sleep, supplementation. Those are the elements when you're trying to consider whether it's losing weight or just transforming your body, gaining weight, gaining lean muscle. Those are the components to plan for. So zooming back out, over the course of maybe 3 years, Adele has transformed herself and her body, reportedly losing again around 98 pounds. Now, This is an amazing accomplishment, and one that looks like it was done for all the right reasons. However, on the social media front, many people engaged on a global conversation about her weight, but the interesting thing was that Adele was never really part of that conversation. She never brought up weight. She never said she wanted to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 98 pounds. So the internet frenzy that followed this fixation on her weight loss is kind of feeding this deeply ingrained messaging around weight stigma in our society and potentially harming those around us. Now, to Adele's credit, she embraced better eating habits. She committed to her fitness. Her metamorphosis was not done for album sales or publicity or to be a role model or, again, to lose X pounds. She just did it for herself, her relationships, and her family. And again, with those reasons as your why, you're much more likely to stick with it long term. I believe it's fair to appreciate the hard work that Adele has done to improve herself for the benefit of her career, her longevity, and her family. She didn't lose the weight to make others feel bad about themselves. This personal transformation has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with you, nothing to do with anyone else in the world. It's just about Adele and how she wants to live her life. She hasn't really changed from the Adele that existed prior. She's still the same Adele, just transformed. And now we move to our second news story of the week. A new study was recently released that talks about aerobics, cardiovascular activity, and how it may be a smart workout for your brain, even at any age. According to a study published by researchers out of the University of Calgary in Alberta, Canada, this is in the May 13th online issue of Neurology in the Medical Journal of the American Academy of Neurology, the study suggests that older adults may perform better on certain thinking and memory tests after just 6 months of cardiovascular and or aerobic exercise. So let's look at the architecture of the study. It involved 206 adults who, prior to starting the study, worked out no more than 4 days per week at a moderate intensity of 30 minutes or less, or no more than 2 days per week at a higher intensity for 20 minutes or less per day. The average age of the study participant was 66 years old and generally had no history of heart or memory problems. Participants were given thinking and memory tests at the start of the study, as well as an ultrasound to measure blood flow in the brain. Testing was also repeated at 3 months, and thinking and physical testing, again, repeated at the end of 6 months. So that's the design of the study. And participants were enrolled in a supervised aerobic exercise program held 3 days per week. As they progressed through the program, they increased their workout from an average of 20 minutes a day to an average of at least 40 minutes per day. And in addition, participants were also asked to work out just one time per week on their own outside of the study physical facilities. So what were some of the results? Well, the researchers found that after the 6-month exercise period, participants improved by about 5.7% on the tests of executive function, which includes both mental flexibility and self-correction. Verbal fluency, which tests how quickly you can retrieve information, also increased by almost 2.5%. And that verbal fluency is roughly what you would expect on average from someone who was 5 years younger than the average study participant. Before and after the 6 month of cardiovascular activity, the participant's average peak blood flow to the brain was measured using the ultrasound. In the blood flow, what they found was that the blood flow increased from an average of about 51.3 centimeters per second to an average of 52.7. So about a little under 3% increase. So this increase in blood flow with exercise was associated with a number of modest but improvements in aspects of thinking that usually decline as we age. So the cool thing is, at a time when most of these participants, given their age, their results would be expected to be decreasing due to normal aging and the aging process, they actually showed increases, obviously, in memory and mental sharpness. So that's kind of exciting. One limitation of the study was that the people doing the exercise were not compared to a similar group of people who were not exercising. So the results could have been due to other factors, although the researchers tried to control for this by testing participants twice over the 6 months before the start of the program. In addition, some of the exercise was unsupervised, so the amount reported on their 1 day a week on their own could be a little unreliable. But overall, as we find out, we all lose a bit mentally and physically as we age, but even if you start an exercise program later in life, the average participant in this study was 66 years old. The benefit to your brain can be massive. Aerobic exercise and cardiovascular exercise may also get blood moving to your brain, particularly in those areas responsible for verbal fluency and executive functions, mental recall, and mental sharpness. This finding may be important especially for older adults, potentially at risk for things like Alzheimer's and other dementias. So, it's never too late to get off the couch and work up a sweat for your brain health. This study at least suggests that older adults may perform better on certain thinking, memory tests, mental acuity, just after 6 months of cardiovascular exercise. Pretty impressive. That's it for this week. We'll talk to you next week. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show. You can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody and on Twitter at FitteristMind. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of The Fitterist Show. My name is Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.